In this video, we're going to cover our trip to Tread Lightly 4-Wheel Drive Way, a Jeep Badge of Honor trail in Ocala National Forest, Florida.
We started on the north end of Tread Lightly, and pretty quickly we realized that there was going to be areas of the trail that got pretty tight. We did see, as we were researching, a lot of comments about pinstriping, and we found that definitely to be true. We did have points where we did need to get out of the car and cut away branches, and we even came across a few fallen trees, so bring gear and tools to be able to cut away any of those obstacles that you might come across.
We started day one around 3 p.m. and we pretty quickly had to start looking for a campsite as the sun started to go down. We hadn't covered as much ground as we had hoped to in day one because the trails were so tight and we had to keep the speed a bit slower. So we definitely started getting a bit concerned about how much ground we'd be able to cover on day two. As with any off-road adventure, it's advisable to have your recovery gear with you. There were some places where there weren't good trees to winch off of, so we had our recovery boards. We also had straps to have the other Jeeps in our group pull us if needed. We never ended up needing any of that, but the sand does get soft in spots, and as you can see in some of these clips, the trail also does open up, so we were able to get up to a little bit more speed and cover more ground in day two.
One of my favorite things about off-roading is being able to see the nature in the different areas we explore, and this trail had a lot of different foliage we encountered. There was all sorts of plants that made me feel like I was in Jurassic Park, and you could definitely see how the weather affects the trees especially. There are parts of this video where you'll notice the trees look very crooked, and I will tell you that the ground was relatively flat, so the trees were just at a 30-degree angle, I'm assuming from all of the wind, hurricanes, weather that they encounter, and it was really wild to drive through and just feel like you're crooked even though you're pretty level. Ocala National Forest has many different trails depending on if you're driving an off-road vehicle, ATV, or motorcycle. So be sure to check either Gaia or some other map to ensure that you're doing trails that are going to be fit for your vehicle. Also, make sure that you're keeping an eye out for pull-off spots in case you encounter any traffic. We ended up not seeing a whole lot of other vehicles on the road, but if you did encounter anyone, there are areas that we found it would be pretty inconvenient and tough to be able to get out of the way and allow each other to pass.
Just off the main trail, you can drive the perimeter of a U.S. Naval bombing range. You can't get too close to anything, but it's cool to see the gate and all of the signs that they've got up marking the perimeter and where you're not supposed to go.
For this trail, we had our 2 Jeeps along with my parents' Gladiator and my sister and her husband's JK. So with the 4 vehicles, it was a little harder to find a good spot to camp. There were definitely a few places we saw that could fit a single vehicle or maybe a couple, but earlier in the day when we discovered this lake, we found that would be a good spot to turn around and circle back to if we didn't find somewhere better. So we ended up doing that, and it was perfect. What I would recommend is, if you are trying to camp inside the forest, to keep an eye out for a spot and make sure that you have plenty of time to find the right place to camp depending on the size of your crew. We didn't encounter very many bugs on night 1. However, when we were setting up and hanging around camp night 2, there were quite a few ticks that we ended up seeing. So another must-have is a quality insect repellent to keep yourself safe as you're camping in the woods.
Last morning, Emily's family got up and left before we did since they had a longer drive home. We finished packing up, got on the road, and headed back home ourselves as well. If you want to follow along with our other adventures, make sure to check out our Instagrams, Offroad and Rey and Lemonhead Jeep, and also make sure to like and subscribe this video so you can see when we post further adventures. Thanks, everyone.